Blurry photos from camera shake are so disappointing, especially when the subject matter was really great. And I often get emails or messages from people saying, Mark, why did this picture have a blur to it when it was sunny out and I've taken pictures here in the same location so many times, yet this time it was blurry while other times it was perfectly fine. Well, this is a common problem, and I'd like to propose to you that there is one camera mode that I suggest that almost guarantees blur-free pictures. Now, when I'm talking about blur-free, I'm talking about the type of blur that comes from slight camera shake, when you're hand-holding your camera. Now, there's different types of blurs. We're not talking about that. This is the type where you're not using a tripod and you have a slightly unsharp picture, most likely due to what's called a slow shutter speed. Okay, so what I advise is Aperture Priority. Now, this is a mode on your camera if you have a DSLR or a mirrorless, and it's usually signified by the letter A. If you have a Canon, it'll be A with a small v. Okay, so if you turn to Aperture Priority, which is A or AV, now next I'd like you to use what's called your lowest f-stop number. This is your aperture. Some other people the terminology is called wide open. However, if that doesn't make any sense to you, just make sure that when you switch to your Aperture Priority, you'll be able to adjust your f-stop numbers. The lower the f-stop number, the better when we're dealing with this issue of camera shake, okay? Now, there are exceptions, which I'll get into, but make sure you're at the lowest number. So for some lenses, that will be f5.6, other lenses f4.5, other lenses f2.8. Okay, now what's the third part of this triangle of excellent sharp pictures? Well, it's called auto ISO. Now, most cameras, in fact, all modern cameras allow for auto ISO. Now, purists will say, no, don't use auto ISO. You have to lock in your ISO the way that you want it. Well, that's true. However, if you're first starting out and you're wondering why you're getting these blurry pictures, I say the stepping stone to getting an understanding of the exposure triangle is to use auto ISO, especially if you are maybe on a vacation or traveling and you don't have time to think logically about exposure. So I'd like you to switch to auto ISO. Go to your ISO setting. You'll see 100, 200, 400, 800, etc. Look for auto. Okay, so with those three parameters, auto ISO, the lowest f-stop number possible, and Aperture Priority, you are going to pretty much guarantee the end of that shake problem. Okay, now this will never solve really low light conditions where it's almost dark. You do need to have a tripod for that. However, most of the time, 90% of the time, you'll be able to pull off sharp pictures because the camera is choosing a fast enough shutter speed for you to handhold your camera to get sharp pictures. Again, there's many exceptions to this, and this is a general rule that I like to help people with when they're first starting out with photography and they have that terrible experience of having a lovely scene that unfortunately goes wrong because of slight camera shake. Okay, so I am happy to go into great detail about all the exceptions to really help you master the exposure triangle. But for this short video, I wanted to give you a really quick summary of what you can do to sort of step up the game. You probably already know how to take pictures in full auto mode. Well, that's easy. Automatic, it's point and shoot. But this next level of using Aperture Priority, lowest f-stop number, and auto ISO will help you get the sharp pictures you need while inching forward to understanding manual exposure. Okay, I hope that helped. And if you have any questions about this, please ask them in the comments section below, and I will be happy to answer them. Have a great day.